Police officers / security of Reddit. What have people offered you for their release? 17 years on the job here. I've been offered all sorts of crazy stuff to let the suspect go, but only once have I actually taken someone up on her offer. I was arresting a girl who was 20 years old for underage drinking. I was 25 at the time, and this girl was smoking hot. While I was walking her to my patrol car, she said she would make it very worthwhile for me to let her go. This was entice, because I had just broken up with my girlfriend a week earlier. She said she was tired of me watching sports all the time, and not paying enough attention to her. But this was during the Legion of Doom era of the Philadelphia Flyers. How could I not watch that shit? Those were the glory days. I actually saw Eric Lindros signing autographs at a mall a few months ago. I didn't have any hockey stuff for him to sign, so I had him sign a cup of lemonade I bought from Auntie Anne's. I only had a medium-sized cup, because their shit is so goddamn expensive now. $3.50 for a fucking pretzel? Go fuck yourself, Auntie Anne. This post reminds me of one of my favorite jokes. A hot young female student in a skimpy dress walks into a professor's office during office hours, and before the professor can say anything closes the door behind her. I would do anything to pass this class, she says, leaning forward seductively. The professor gulps. Anything? He asks. Anything, she replies, licking her lips. The professor leans forward and whispers, would you study? A few years ago, did security at a temporary business, seasonal, for a few weeks. No big troublemakers really, except one kid. I'd guess he was 20-21 and his girlfriend around 16 to 17. They got into a fight, and he hit her, in public. My coworkers are all retired military active duty Leo firefighters / EMTs. This kid was probably 5'6", 120 pounds, and when he saw us running at him, including one guy who was 6'5", 350 pounds who ran faster than anyone else, he threw himself on the ground. As he cried and begged for mercy, he offered us a non-stop slew of things. Sparks, games, washing our cars, his mom making food. We laughed the whole time as this kid's balls just shriveled up and fell off. We called Leo, they came and got him. EMTs talked to the girl who was actually pretty banged up. I wasn't there to see what happened, but someone told me he sucker punched her for talking to some guy in line, then started choking her. I have a friend who is a rookie in the police force. One time she and her senior partner went to break a party in a quiet neighborhood at 4 in the morning. My friend was offered 10 cheeseburgers to let them keep on listening to music for a bit longer. She said she was really intrigued about the offer. I mean, 10 cheeseburgers? Edit. My apologies about time. I'm not used to AM/PM time system. The cheese hamburgers were alike to McDonald's, its rival in Finland called Hesburger. As a lead officer for the dreaded SAP, I was screening checked baggage a few months ago. I noticed a rather peculiar looking Sparks 360 in a passenger's bag, and, being a gamer myself, noticed that it was missing many necessary components. Upon further review, I also noticed it contained something it normally would not, large brick-like masses. After clearing it as a bomb, it was opened, and found to be large bricks of cocaine. The passenger was yanked from his plane, and, when shown our findings, told us he'd give us those bucks if he could leave with his drugs. Literally, just about anything. I've had tour managers offer tickets, women offer 6, and malcontents offer me a butt whooping. None of which were worth my job. Usually it's the subtle offers. You'd approach a vehicle with an attractive person driving, return to your squad to run their information, and suddenly, upon your return to the driver, their clothing is much more revealing than before. Most people, however, offer guilt, tears, tales of hardship, and ignorant innocence regarding laws. That is as implausible as it would be enviable, if it were true. In any case, I'm happy to have a camera recording my actions, because it seems that the people who offer themselves are much more likely to falsely claim you accepted their offers. My boyfriend told me he pulled a woman over for speeding, went to her window to get her information, and when he returned she had hiked her skirt up. Her vagina was just willy-nilly hanging out, and she was attempting to make sexy faces at him to avoid a ticket, but my boyfriend found the thought of her just whipping her vagina out, that he laughed at her. She got incredibly embarrassed, apologized, took her ticket and left. I paid less than $200 to a Chicago cop to get out of a DUI. He walked up to the window and put his hat in the car and just stood there. We both immediately emptied our wallets into his hat. He told us to get a coffee at the corner shop and not leave for 1 hour. Thanks to whoever you were. My friend used to use his driving license as a wallet. In the UK we used to have paper driving licenses that were about A4 sized and folded up into little wallets. He got pulled over once for speeding, and when the officer asked to see his driving license he passed it over with about 80 pounds in the middle. That was a very awkward few minutes with a lot of explaining to do. My ex once called me at 6 AM after a girl nights out. We were not longer together. She was on her own and got pulled over by a cop in uniform, but not in her official vehicle. She did not drink and was not speeding. Apparently he pulled her over just to tell her she was pretty and asked for a kiss to let her go. She called me on the spot and the cop let her go. Sadly, she did not take the cop's name or batch number because she obviously freaked out. We live in Mexico. I don't have to tell you what I think of our authorities after this incident. My brother at the time was an EMT. He has his uniform hanging in the backseat of his car. When he got pulled over, the officer asked if he was an EMT, and sure enough he let my brother go. My brother's coworker was a female and got into the same situation. She asked the officer, aren't we on the same side of the law? Nope, the officer said, and handed her ticket. Friend of mine worked security at Best Buy in Regina, Saskatchewan. They caught a woman shoplifting, and he had to keep her in the back holding room while the cops came. She pulled out a used heroin needle, stabbed herself, and then said to him, I have HIV, and I'm going to stab you if you don't let me go right now. He let her go. So basically, she offered him HIV. I was offered my job. Many moons ago. I was a security guard at a facility that had bars, restaurants, and the like. We were also the only building in downtown of a good sized city that kept its restrooms open to the public 24/7. The restrooms were clearly marked with signs pointing towards them from almost everywhere, though we would still get drunks urinating all over the place. One night, after bar close, I step off the elevator to find a young lady urinating about 10 feet from the entrance to the restrooms. I step over towards the door and give it a small shove to show that it was unlocked. This also allows her time to finish/button up. I then ask for her and her lookout id. This makes them feel as though they are being detained without actually having any reason to believe they are. They are free to ask for their id back and to walk away at any point. At this post, the local police wanted us to wear their uniforms with our insignia. People often mistook us for local Leo, and we communicated with them by radio. I radioed for an officer to issue trespass warnings. An officer that I knew responded that he was on his way. I explained to the ladies that I'm waiting for officer so and so to show up. He will be issuing trespass warnings. The girl who was leaving her period pee behind lost it. She asked if I knew who she was and who her father was. Truth be told, I recognized her last name, but it was common enough that I didn't pay any attention. I left it at that. Officer so and so shows up ready to issue the warnings. They prohibit you from stepping on property for 1 year and begins to do so. Period P gives it another try. Do you know who my dad is? To which the officer replies, no, but I bet you're about to tell me. Senator Summon. The officer looks at me, looks at the girl, the puddle of bloody pee and the camera on the wall. Do you have that on tape? Senator someone's daughter peeing on the floor next to an unlocked bathroom door? Yup, he's going to have your jobs, unless you let me go. I replied he can have mine. TLDR, Senator didn't want my job. Never been bribed before, but I've definitely received plenty of threats to have my badge taken away. They've all been empty. But the batted eyelashes, they got me once. Exactly once. It wasn't my style to pull anyone over for anything less than a radar lock of 10 miles per hour over the posted limit, and depending on the driver's attitude, they'd drive away with either a speech or a ticket. I pulled over a pretty girl once. She was a hard 7 in normal life, easily a 9 for a traffic stop. She was pretty enough that I knew I'd tell the other guys about the details of her hotness later on, and goddamn it, her batted eyelashes and flirting worked. As she drove away, I found myself smiling stupidly at a blank citation in my ticket book. She got neither a speech nor a ticket. Since then, I changed my approach to be as professional and dispassionate as possible, and would match my attitude to the drivers after initial contact. And, now that I think about it, I became less likely to let pretty women drive away with just a speech after that encounter. I'm a co now, but have done various different security details in the past. I've been offered the stereotypical shit people will offer when they have their backs in a corner. Everything: sex, money, drugs, other services such as lawn care, plumbing, and electrical work, a 2000 Honda Civic, dozens of iPhones, separate incidents, a 47-inch flat screen, the one he just tried to steal, a very nice Citizen watch, and tons of other shit. I never really got surprised after my first 3 or 4 busts. People will throw their dignity right out the fucking window if there is even a glimmer of hope they may be able to get out of a charge. The inmates I currently guard are way better though. If I catch them fucking up, being out of place or having contraband, they'll sometimes offer me their standard issued shit. Toothpaste, shampoo, soap, etc, or even some commissary shit like oatmeal pies and ramen noodles. I'll leave your imaginations to formulate a response for that, mayo.